the idea, I talked to a couple of guys some time ago, 3 months ago or so, and we were talking about a lot of things, and one of them said, I just really blew it because this particular kid of mine never became a Christian, and I just feel like, man, I have so many things I did wrong. And I said, well, two things: it's not over, and two, I don't think that's how we want to be thinking.
Right.
And I think that's a tremendous burden on a lot of people. And I mean, look, I don't have any doubt that the ideal would be that we're able to pass our faith on to our children. It makes the world better. Mm-hmm. It makes their lives better, their marriages better, their families better. Because only when you have faith in God do you have the resilience, the endurance, the character, the tenacity, the sensitivity, the compassion, the comforting ability, the encouraging ability to be able to be the best parent or spouse we can be. So you want them to have faith. And we live in a world that doesn't have a lot of faith and that is constantly offering solutions that don't include God.
Right.
And I was going through the UNICEF statistics that I shared earlier, and they were really great, but they listed out community things. I think it was that article or a Harvard article I was reading. They list out ways community can get better, but it's not like they put church in there. Some people do, but a lot of people don't. And so one of the things I think we should just say a word about is that you can't grade yourself out and say you failed because your kid didn't believe at a certain time.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of that gets into the head because the forces of darkness, and almost every religion on earth believes that there's darkness. So I don't think that's really up for debate. Even secular people believe in the philosophy of evil. And so it's out there. But I think all that push that's evil, that push that's darkness, that push that's coldness wants us to give up and to say, I'm done, it's useless, it's pointless. And I think when we do that, it takes something out of our heart when we stop believing that even impossible things can come true. But if you guys were to give a word to people out there who maybe are like, I've done everything you guys are doing. I've tried all these things. I've spent thousands of dollars and my kid still won't listen to me, or my kid is still defiant, or my kid doesn't want to be a part of anything related to God, or my kid doesn't share my values. What word of encouragement could you give people so that they can stay hopeful and faithful? And we're not even saying that they have to force their kid to believe anything. It's not that. It's that they keep their faith intact as the turbulence comes their way and keep believing in the impossible things that they want to see come true can come true.
I would say there's a scripture that comes to mind, 1 Corinthians 10:13. It talks about how everybody goes through testing, and it says that he will screen and filter the severity, nature, and timing of every test or trial you face so you can bear it, and each test is an opportunity to trust him more. For along with every trial, God has provided for you a way of escape that will bring you out of it victoriously. I know we've had a lot of times of testing where I want to quit, I want to give up. I don't want to have the conversation the fourth or fifth time, the same conversation I thought I had with my kids last week or last month. But I think the hope is there's always a way through the testing, meaning because of it, it's helped Amy and I had to figure out we need some other friends in our life to help us. We can't raise our kids by ourselves. It takes a village. Yes. It takes friends. And even when things seem hopeless or frustrating or I'm at my wit's end, it's also an opportunity through that testing for me to actually have to reach out and get friends and connect with people. And it also has helped me empathize more because I grew up pretty entitled and spoiled and taken care of. And I realized, this actually helps me connect with a lot of my friends who go through this level of empathy that I would not have developed or even been even clued in on without the testing. So this scripture always helps me to realize there's always an opportunity to whatever we're going through for more strength, more help, more relationships, and how God surrounds us with those ways out or solutions.
That's good.
So Marilyn and I have 3 kids, and one of our kids decided to not want to pursue a relationship with God and left God and really lived in a way that was challenging for us to accept, very, very defeating for us for about 10 years. And one of the scriptures that I held on to that really made the difference for me is in Ephesians 1 and verse 11. It says, in him we were also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will. And what that scripture helped me through the darkest time is what God is always, regardless of what decisions we make, his plan for us or our kids never changes. He'll work out everything, every bad decision they make, everything that you disapprove of, whatever it is, he'll work it out in accordance with his plan. So he's kind of like our GPS. You don't turn where he tells you to turn. They go recalculating. But they're always trying to get you to the place. God's always trying to get our kids to the place he wants them to get, and he will take their wrong turns and figure out a different path to get them there. And I think that I held on to that, and I think we got to continue to hang on to the fact that God's never done with our kids. For us to say they didn't achieve something at a certain period of time is to limit God to going, hey, I thought the goal was when we die that we're faithful. Not how you get there or what that journey is or how long it takes you. So never giving up is aligning yourself with God who never quits.
Excellent.
I kind of want to, I want to pipe in here because I remember, going through some tough times with parenting and the kids and stuff like that. And, you get into fixing your kid, trying to do the right thing, fix them, take them to the right doctors, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I remember just having, I think I was reading a book called Love Your Teenager. And I just had this emotional little breakdown, all I want to do is love my kid. And I kind of had to change my goal in that it wasn't about fixing them, but it really, 1 Corinthians 13 says you can have all the faith, you can sacrifice, you can have the best, you can have the knowledge and the right words, but really love is, with all those things, if you don't have the love, it's not gonna turn out so great, maybe, And so I remember just kind of having to reset my heart and goal to just learn or figure out how to love this kid or all my kids versus having the goal to fix them. Although, obviously I wanted all my children to love God, come to know God, but that being a big part of the goal, but I had to just simplify it for me because I don't always feel like I have the most faith in the greatest words of wisdom and stuff. But I knew that I could work on myself being more patient, kind, not keeping a record of wrongs, or, just the whole definition of love, really trying to work on trying to put that into practice. And that would be, a lifetime goal. I mean, there's days I don't feel like loving anybody. So, it just became more of a better goal for me personally is that I'm going to work on loving these, my husband and my family versus trying to teach them the do's and don'ts, I guess.
Right. Well, I think some people out there probably be like, yeah, I'm trying to love my kid, but they don't follow the family rules and they're causing havoc in my house. So I think that, what do you guys think about that? Because I think what Marilee's talking about, it's exactly the right concept. I 100% agree. But I think sometimes, there's the practical thing of, my kids rebelling against everything I'm doing in the house and they're creating chaos. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so how do I love them in that situation? Can you guys give any practicals on that? Just one or two practicals, because I think you're right. And I would encourage people to go back and read 1 Corinthians 13, mm-hmm. which does the best job. It's famous of defining what love is, because love is not just the compassion and the believing and the hope and the always hoping, but it's also rejoicing with the truth, right. and having an environment of truth. But is there anything someone should keep in mind when you're trying to love? Because I know this is what you're talking about, Marilee. When you're trying to love somebody, maybe the best way to put it is trying to love somebody who doesn't love you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I asked my kid who left God for a long time and went through a lot of challenges and things that were very hurtful to us. And after she actually came back, I said, what was going on during that time? What was going through your mind? And she said, I don't really have any idea. And I don't think that it's as calculated as it feels like that our kid is out to make us hurt and destroyed. I think there's a lot of things going on in their own life, insecurities, things they're trying to work out, how they think they're going to be liked and cared for. I think every kid ends up living some form of a double life because your parents have one thing that makes them happy.
Yes.
And your friends at school have different set of things that make them happy, and you're trying to manage those things. So I think life is complicated and challenging for them. I think that you're the people they're probably the most secure with the most, and so they can act out with you knowing that you're going to still love them and care for them. So you're getting sometimes the worst because you are the place they feel most secure. Yeah. And
wow, that's great.
It seems counterintuitive, but they go, this is all the things and feelings and things that I'm mad about, angry at, and I got somebody I could take it out on because I don't know what else to do. I don't know where else to turn, and I don't know how to manage my emotions. It felt very personal at the time, but then as we were talking later, she goes, yeah, I didn't have an agenda. I just didn't understand my own self. So I do think persevering and knowing that, as you said, Russ, 25 is coming, for most of these teens, the brains, a lot changes in that time when they develop and mature physically, emotionally, kind of a thing. So best thing is not to take it personally, stay engaged and keep working the problem.